Welcome back to Peaceful Stories. Today, we delve into one of the most pivotal moments in history, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. This event didn't just end a royal life. It ignited a chain reaction that led to the outbreak of World War I and reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the 20th century. In this video, we'll explore the intricate web of nationalism, political conspiracies, and the tragic consequences that unfolded as a result. So, sit back, relax, and let's unravel this historical enigma together. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, a historical odyssey. Historical context: a world on the edge of conflict. The world at the dawn of the 20th century was rife with tension, teetering on the brink of unprecedented change. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand on June 28, 1914, would not merely mark the death of a royal, it would trigger a cataclysm that reverberated across continents, altering the course of history forever. To understand this monumental event, one must first delve deep into the intricate tapestry of the socio-political landscape of Europe, where alliances and animosities had festered over decades, creating a powder keg that awaited only a spark. 1. The seeds of nationalism, a growing tide. In the decades leading up to the assassination, nationalism surged as a powerful force, reshaping nations and identities. The 19th century had seen the unification of Italy and Germany, inspiring various ethnic groups across Europe to seek autonomy and recognition. In the Balkans, a region characterized by a mosaic of ethnicities and cultures, nationalist sentiments were particularly volatile. Serbia, emboldened by its victories in the Balkan Wars, 1912 to 1913, sought to expand its territory and influence, aspiring to create a greater Serbia that would unite all South Slavic peoples. This ambition posed a direct threat to the stability of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which encompassed diverse nationalities, including Germans, Hungarians, Czechs, Slovaks, Croats, and Serbs. The Habsburg dynasty faced a growing challenge in maintaining control over its restless subjects, as nationalist fervor spread like wildfire. 2. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, a house of cards. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, with its intricate administrative structure and diverse population, was a fragile entity held together by the Habsburg monarchy. Franz Ferdinand, as heir to the throne, understood the delicate balance required to govern such a heterogeneous empire. His experiences shaped his views. He believed that granting autonomy to various ethnic groups was essential to preserving the empire's integrity. However, his proposals for reform were met with resistance from conservative factions within the court, who feared that such concessions would lead to further disintegration. Franz Ferdinand's marriage to Sophie, Duchess of Hohenberg, further complicated his position. Their union defied the conventions of the time, as Sophie was not of equal rank. This love story, however, was a reflection of Franz Ferdinand's progressive mindset. Together, they shared a vision of a more inclusive empire where diverse cultures could coexist peacefully. Yet, their bond also placed them at odds with the rigid traditions of the Habsburg court, setting the stage for a fateful confrontation with the forces of nationalism. 3. The role of secret societies, shadows of the Balkans. In the political undercurrents of the Balkans, secret societies began to emerge, advocating for nationalist causes with fervor. The Black Hand, a Serbian nationalist organization, took root amidst the chaos. Founded in 1911, it sought to achieve its aims through clandestine means, including acts of terrorism and assassination. The Black Hand's ideology resonated with many young Serbs, who believed that violent action was a legitimate response to imperial oppression. Among its ranks were individuals who were not merely soldiers of a cause, but were deeply influenced by their personal experiences and the collective suffering of their people. The group's members were driven by a sense of urgency to act against what they perceived as an oppressive regime, leading to a deadly convergence of ambition and ideology. 4. Gavrilo Princip, a portrait of a revolutionary. Gavrilo Princip, born on July 25, 1894, in Bosnia, was emblematic of the disillusioned youth of the time. Growing up in a country marked by economic hardship and political repression, He was profoundly affected by the prevailing atmosphere of despair. Princip's family, struggling to make ends meet, instilled in him a sense of injustice towards the ruling class. The rise of nationalism provided a framework for him to channel his frustrations into a political cause. As a teenager, Princip became involved with the nationalist movement, finding purpose among those who shared his vision of liberation from Austro-Hungarian rule. His belief that violence could catalyze change was fueled by the romantic notions of martyrdom and heroism prevalent in revolutionary circles. Princip's determination to take action would eventually lead him down a path of historical infamy, marking him as one of the most consequential figures of the 20th century. 5. The Conspirators, a band of brothers. The conspirators who plotted to assassinate Franz Ferdinand were not merely faceless agents of chaos. They were a diverse group united by a common goal. They represented various facets of Serbian nationalism, each with personal motivations that drove them toward a violent resolution. In addition to Princip, key figures included Nedeljko Kabranovic, Trifko Grabez, and Vaso Kubrilovic, who shared a deep-seated belief that their actions could alter the trajectory of their nation. As the group plotted the assassination, they grappled with the moral implications of their plan. They viewed themselves as warriors for a noble cause, yet the weight of their intentions hung heavily upon them. Each meeting was infused with a sense of urgency, as they prepared to carry out an act that could reshape the destiny of nations. The fateful day, June 28, 1914. 6. A celebration turned to tragedy. On June 28, 1914, Sarajevo was alive with activity as the city prepared to welcome the Archduke. The date was significant, marking the anniversary of the Battle of Kosovo, a pivotal moment in Serbian history. Crowds gathered, some eager to witness the royal visit, while others viewed it as an opportunity to express their dissent. The air was charged with anticipation, creating a backdrop of celebration and tension. Franz Ferdinand and Sophie arrived with a mixture of hope and trepidation. Despite the earlier assassination attempt, the Archduke insisted on proceeding with the day's schedule, showcasing his determination to fulfill his royal duties. However, the atmosphere had shifted dramatically, and the threats against him loomed large. 7. The first attempt, chaos unleashed. The day began with a sense of celebration, but the specter of violence was never far away. During the royal procession, Nedeljko Kabranovic hurled a grenade at the Archduke's motorcade, but the attempt failed spectacularly. The bomb missed its target, injuring members of the Archduke's entourage and sending the crowd into a frenzy of chaos. Amidst the confusion, Kabranovic attempted to take his own life, but was apprehended by authorities, setting the stage for a fateful twist of events. Despite the failed assassination attempt, Franz Ferdinand remained resolute. He expressed a desire to visit the injured victims, demonstrating a sense of duty that marked his character. However, the incident had shaken the sense of security that had surrounded the royal visit, and the atmosphere turned dark. 8. A fateful turn. The wrong route. After the chaos of the bombing, the Archduke's motorcade made its way through the streets of Sarajevo, but the driver, unaware of the planned route, took a wrong turn. This miscommunication proved to be a fatal mistake. The vehicle came to a halt in front of a cafe where Gavrilo Princip happened to be standing. In that moment, time seemed to slow as the conspirator seized the opportunity of a lifetime. Princip approached the car and fired 2 shots. The first bullet struck Franz Ferdinand in the neck, while the second hit Sophie in the abdomen. The moment was surreal. The couple, who had navigated the challenges of their royal status with grace, were suddenly confronted with the brutal reality of political violence. In an instant, their lives were extinguished, and the world would never be the same. 9. The immediate aftermath. Shockwaves of violence. The assassination sent shockwaves throughout Europe, plunging nations into a state of fear and uncertainty. The Austro-Hungarian government, already grappling with nationalist uprisings, reacted with outrage. To them, the murder of the Archduke was not just a personal tragedy, but a direct affront to the empire itself. In Serbia, responses were mixed. Some celebrated the act as a heroic stand against oppression, while others feared the consequences that would inevitably follow. Serbian leaders attempted to distance themselves from the conspirators, hoping to quell the impending storm. 10. The ultimatum, a provocation to war. In the wake of the assassination, the Austro-Hungarian government began drafting an ultimatum to Serbia. This ultimatum was a calculated move, designed to provoke a conflict and assert dominance over Serbia. It included a series of demands that were unlikely to be fully met, reflecting the Austro-Hungarian leadership's desire for retribution. The ultimatum was delivered on July 23, 1914, and its harsh terms left Serbia in a precarious position. Although Serbian officials attempted to address the demands, they fell short of meeting Austria-Hungary's expectations. The response was viewed as insufficient, further inflaming tensions. The path to war, alliances and mobilization. 11. The entangled alliances, a web of conflict. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand acted as the spark that ignited a firestorm of conflict. The complex web of alliances in place meant that what began as a regional dispute rapidly escalated into a world war. Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany, sought to assert its dominance, while Russia rallied to Serbia's defense. Germany's support for Austria-Hungary was unwavering. Kaiser Wilhelm II urged his ally to take a firm stance against Serbia, leading to a series of military mobilizations that further exacerbated tensions. The Russian Empire, seeing itself as the protector of Slavic nations, mobilized its forces in defense of Serbia, creating a situation that appeared increasingly dire. 12. The march to war, the final countdown. As the days passed, the situation spiraled out of control. Diplomatic efforts to diffuse tensions were largely ineffective, as national leaders were consumed by their own ambitions and fears. The rhetoric of nationalism fueled public support for war, painting it as a noble endeavor to defend national honor and sovereignty. On July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, marking the official beginning of World War I. The declaration sent shockwaves throughout Europe, igniting a chain reaction of alliances and declarations of war. Russia mobilized its forces, leading Germany to declare war on Russia. France, allied with Russia, found itself drawn into the conflict, while Great Britain struggled to maintain neutrality amidst rising tensions. The horrors of war, trench warfare, and human suffering. 13. The front lines, a brutal reality. The war that followed was unlike any previous conflict in history. The brutal reality of trench warfare emerged, with soldiers facing horrific conditions on the front lines. The Western Front, characterized by a network of trenches stretching from the North Sea to Switzerland, became a hellish landscape of mud, blood, and despair. As men fought and died in the trenches, the nature of warfare evolved rapidly. The introduction of new technologies, such as machine guns, artillery, and poison gas, transformed the battlefield into a site of unimaginable suffering. Soldiers faced not only the enemy but also the elements, disease, and psychological trauma. 14. The human cost. Millions affected. The scale of human suffering during World War I was staggering. Millions of soldiers and civilians fell victim to the violence, with estimates of total casualties reaching over 40 million. The war claimed the lives of young men who had once harbored dreams of a brighter future, leaving families shattered and communities torn apart. Civilians were not spared from the horrors of war. As nations mobilized entire populations for the war effort, everyday life was irrevocably altered. Women entered the workforce in unprecedented numbers, taking on roles that had traditionally been held by men. The war catalyzed profound changes in social dynamics, as the need for labor transcended gender boundaries. The impact of war, social and political change. 15. Disillusionment and protest. As the war dragged on, the initial fervor began to wane. The staggering loss of life and the horrors witnessed in combat led to widespread disillusionment. Soldiers returning from the front lines brought stories of unimaginable suffering, challenging the glorified narratives of heroism that had initially fueled public support for the war. In many countries, the sacrifices made by soldiers and their families raised questions about the very nature of nationalism and the cost of war. Protests erupted across Europe as citizens demanded an end to the bloodshed, grappling with the moral implications of a conflict that had consumed an entire generation. 16. The Treaty of Versailles, a new world order. The war ultimately culminated in the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. This treaty sought to bring an end to the hostilities and reshape the map of Europe. It imposed heavy reparations on Germany, redrew national borders, and established the League of Nations in an effort to promote international cooperation. However, the treaty also sowed the seeds of future conflict. Many Germans felt humiliated by the terms imposed upon them, fostering resentment that would later contribute to the rise of Adolf Hitler and the outbreak of World War II. The legacy of the assassination continued to resonate in the decades that followed. Reflections on nationalism and political violence. 17. Lessons from history. A cautionary tale. In the years since the assassination, historians and scholars have grappled with the broader implications of this pivotal event. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand serves as a stark reminder of how individual actions can have far-reaching consequences, altering the course of history. The narrative of the Archduke's assassination has been studied extensively, with lessons drawn about the dangers of nationalism, imperialism, and the use of violence as a political tool. The complexities of the political landscape at the time highlight the fragile nature of peace and the potential for conflict to arise from seemingly isolated incidents. The intersection of personal ambitions, national identities, and the aspirations of ordinary individuals played a crucial role in shaping the trajectory of history. Conclusion: the enduring legacy. As we reflect on the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and its aftermath, we are reminded of the intricate web of factors that contribute to conflict. The convergence of nationalism, political ambition, and personal motivations shaped a pivotal moment in history, leading to consequences that would resonate for generations to come. The events surrounding the assassination serve as a cautionary tale about the importance of diplomacy, understanding, and empathy in an increasingly interconnected world. They remind us that the actions of individuals, whether motivated by idealism or desperation, can profoundly impact the course of nations. In today's global landscape, where nationalism and ethnic tensions still exist, the story of Franz Ferdinand serves as a poignant reminder of the need for dialogue and cooperation. It encourages us to learn from the past, striving for a future where the lessons of history guide our choices and shape a more peaceful world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand serves as a powerful reminder of how individual actions can have far-reaching consequences. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Peaceful Stories for more captivating tales from the past. Let us know in the comments what you think about the events we discussed today, and if there are any other historical moments you'd like us to explore. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.